we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts. S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K, S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run.
because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together they worked a young team to the top. And now a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Monday, July 21st. I hope you're all doing well tonight on the Sick Podcast. Who will Ivan Demidov play with? What are the expectations? Who will Joe Veleno play with? What are the expectations? How about the power play, the first wave and the second wave? And we'll talk about all of that with Eric Engels. We're also going to take a look at the schedule, of course, which was released last week. We never got to it. We'll bring it up, and I'll do all of that. Not before I talk to you about Energy Transportation Group, one of our partners, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different, a top fleet employer in Canada. Also brought to you in part by Playground. If you're looking for the ultimate entertainment destination, Playground is your ticket to nonstop thrills. I was there, I think, on Friday night. Experience heart-pumping gaming action, a world-class poker experience. Playground, the 2025 winner of Fan Choice Best Poker Room at the Global Poker Awards. Indulge your taste buds at their incredible restaurants. Let loose with their live music and electrifying DJs. Enjoy unmatched customer service just minutes from downtown Montreal, right across the Mercier Bridge. Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary at Playground? It's all there. Visit playground.ca to discover more. And brought to you in part by Bittt Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager, refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the summer with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. Without further ado, he is a regular collaborator on Monday nights during the hockey season. And most Mondays, I think, even in the summer. Eric Engels, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Very, very good. Let me just get this chair out of the way.
First off, can you hear me well? Because I don't have my microphone, and as you could tell, I'm up north of the cottage.
I could definitely hear you well, and I can't believe that you don't have an extra microphone at the cottage.
I'll tell Aniello to send me one with the beer delivery.
Okay, I got it. Whose cottage is that exactly?
It's ours. It's me and Emily.
Oh, really, eh? Okay, yeah. Your third or your fourth?
I have to say she's responsible for it, though.
Okay, good. Good for her. Yeah, fantastic. Cottage is a nice thing to have. Good for you. Nice. That's a good place to have. All right. Good for you. All right. Let's talk about this. And thanks for taking some time away from Emily. If I was you, I wouldn't, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Tony, right. Her and I have a bet. Are you wearing pants under that table or what?
1,000%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they the ripoff like Michael Jordan, tracksuit, like the running, you know what I mean?
Yeah, these are made by One Bone, and they're casual joggers, right? The everyday pants.
I want to say there's a Fellner involved in that company. I remember somebody.
Adam Greenberg
speaking, but that's a Montreal company, isn't it?
Adam Greenberg is probably the guy you're thinking about. Who I used to work with, at the English radio station. We worked for the same company. Okay. But anyway, so I salute them and I thank them because they got great products. I wear a lot of One Bone. Okay. Ivan Demidov. I want to talk to you about him, and I want to talk to you about Joe Veleno, because a buddy of mine called me the other day, and he said to me, he says, Tony, Veleno and Demidov are skating together. They got some real nice chemistry together. It seems like they like each other a lot. And he said to me, Veleno's going to play with Demidov. And I said, well, I hope that's the case. I don't think it's going to happen to start the season, but it might happen at some point this season because quite honestly, the Canadiens have depth and the Canadiens have options. So I would imagine we're going to see them together at one point, I think. To start, well, you never know. There's a lot of competition, obviously. There's Kirby Dach, there's Alex Newhook. I know Grant McCagg weighed in yesterday and on social media and said that he likes Oliver Kapanen to play with Bolduc and Demidov. But I want to ask you, who do you think Demidov will play with to start the season?
I got to be Dach and Bolduc.
Dach and Bolduc.
I got to say, there's going to be some real baked-in flexibility here. You know, when we talked about their lineup a year ago, Tony, we're talking about how the greatest flexibility that Marty St. Louis has is with a bolstered bottom six that kind of helps him circumnavigate the fact that he doesn't have a real set second line. He's got a first line, second line, tough situation. It was a situation that ended up never resolving itself. But a huge reason the Canadiens made the playoffs is they had, whether they wanted it to be this way or not, salary-wise, they were structured that they had a bunch of guys making a lot of money to play in their bottom six roles. But they were well-established veteran players who gave Marty the flexibility to run one line in the offensive zone, one line in the defensive zone, and kind of use them equally. And it brought the forward group up a level. Now, things have changed. I understand you're still looking at a hole as second line center, right? And the hope is that Kirby Dach can step in, and we all know that his pursuits at center have not been overly successful over the last year and change with the injuries that have happened in the faceoff situation and just the way he played last year. But I think for once, Marty's going to look at his top six, what he's doing now versus last year, and saying, I've got options here. If I want to mix this around at some point, I can. I don't think he could really do that last year much. Now, you've got Slavkovsky, Caulfield, and Suzuki. I think you're starting that way. You'd be silly not to. But at a certain point, could we see Slavkovsky with Dach and Demidov? Could we see Bolduc up on the top line with Caulfield and Suzuki? Could we see Suzuki with Demidov and Caulfield? Could we? There's a few different iterations of what we could see. But my belief is the way it starts, provided everybody's healthy going into game one of the season, is you're going to have Dach with Bolduc and Demidov.
Last year we saw a lot of guys play with a lot of guys. I mean, for the most part, Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky, that line remained intact. For the most part, up until there were injuries that changed things. Evans with Armia and Heineman, and Dvorak was with Gallagher and Anderson. The line that Dach centered, of course, had changes because Dach went down with that injury, and then we saw a little bit of Alex Newhook and a little bit of others as well. I would think it's going to be another season where you're going to see a lot of guys play with a lot of guys. I think it's safe to say that they'll definitely start the season with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky together again. We saw last year how good they were 5-on-5, scoring more goals at 5-on-5 than any other line in the National Hockey League. They have a lot of offensive possession time. They complement each other real well. But, Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes, they have their office, of course, in Brassard, and they got one at the Bell Center in Montreal. And in that Brassard office, they have a board. And on that board, even though we can say that the Montreal Canadiens, they won't number lines and stuff like that, I'd be willing to bet that if we took a look at that board today, that board probably has Dach, Bolduc, and Demidov, like you just talked about, on it. Now, does that mean they're going to play with each other? No, it all depends on what's going to happen, I think, at camp and who's going to find chemistry and who's not, who's going to do well. But I would say right now, in the third week of July, that I think they have Demidov penciled in to play with Dach and Bolduc again. It all depends on where Dach is in his rehabilitation, of course.
I don't know if Gordon and Hughes have a board in their office, and if they do, I don't know if it matches the one that Marty St. Louis has, but I know that no matter what the discussions are that happen between all three parties, Marty ultimately sets his lineup. It's Marty's choice who's going to play with who, and I'm sure he welcomes input and all that. But ultimately, he's got to decide it. It brings me back a year. Like, we go into the last camp, Marty had a real attack plan for that camp. He put his lines together early and kept them together for virtually the whole camp. The experiment from the year before was like, let's try things now so that we'll see what happens later and see if certain combinations work because we already know what works. Last year was different, and that's what made the start to the season all the more perplexing. It's like they kind of treated training camp a lot less like we've seen traditional training camps. They invited less players. They put their lines together early. There wasn't a lot of mystery, and they got off to the worst start in the NHL. I was really surprised by that, given the way the camp went. Now, would that have Marty deviate from that type of structure this time around? I can't say for sure, but I don't think it would. I think he's going to say, I've got my top line, ready to roll with those guys. My second line, I want to give them a chance to gain chemistry early. You've got Gallagher and Anderson, who are very complementary with each other. We got to figure out who's going to play in the middle of them, and you and I will discuss that as we go along here. But I just feel like Marty's got a board, and that board isn't going to change a whole lot if there's no injuries in camp going into the season, I would think, unless they get into the preseason games and like something looks really off with the chemistry.
So I'm still not sold that Kirby Dach is a center more so than he is a winger.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be, right? Like nobody should be completely sold on that concept at this point. That's something Kirby's going to have to prove.
I know that analytics might prove otherwise. They probably do, actually. But the time that I saw Kirby Dach play with Caulfield and Suzuki a couple of years ago now, so it wasn't last year. It wasn't the year before when he got hurt, but it was the year before that. So his first year when he came over. I liked him more during that short amount of time playing right wing on that line than I've liked him playing at center. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm not completely sold on his 200-foot play. I'm not completely sold on the discipline in his play. I'm not completely sold on his playmaking ability. I'm not completely sold, obviously, on him in the faceoff circle. But I can understand why Gordon and Hughes are crossing their fingers, and Marty St. Louis maybe too, at a guy who was drafted 3rd overall, who was a package of about 6'3.5", about 220. To be able to back up a guy like Nick Suzuki. I can understand why they want him to be that guy.
Can you, it's hard to hockey's a total team sport, okay? And it doesn't all hinge on one player. But if you try and predict what the success of the Canadiens will be this coming season, it would be far easier to handicap if Dach was a known commodity. If you knew that he's going to come in and he's going to be the player that everybody has thought, or that many people always thought that he could be, the one that we've seen glimpses of, but we just haven't seen consistently to this point for injuries, for different reasons. But if this guy shows up and plays the way he plays to his potential, the potential that saw him drafted 3rd overall in 2019. I know there's a lot of people out there that believe that that's impossible at this point. I'm not one of them, okay? How much better are the Montreal Canadiens if he actually does that? Because I think he can make a massive difference for them this year based on what they did last year and where they're going.
I saw one player when I'm thinking about the Montreal Canadiens who had back-to-back ACL injuries, and when he came back, he didn't skip a beat. It was Andrei Markov. This is something I know everyone's crossing their fingers and are hoping that this is going to work out.
Markov was a lot older when that happened too.
Correct. And plays a different position, obviously. This is going to be very difficult, I think, for Kirby Dach. I think Dach last year, for the most part, at the beginning of the season, I think his fitness probably wasn't where it should have been. His cardio probably wasn't where it should have been. His foot speed probably wasn't where it should have been. And endurance, stamina, all that, whatever you want to call it. At one point, I think there was a mental block as well. I mean, it looked that way and I don't know this for a fact. I didn't talk to him about it, but you obviously couldn't blame him if he played a little bit tentative. And now to be able to suffer another ACL injury and another setback and come back, there's going to be a huge obstacle in the way here. So the talent is there. Everyone knows it. But for everyone who's just going to think that it's going to happen, it can be very tough. If it happens, then all the credit to him, because this guy's got a mental toughness that is.
You said you're not sold on 10 different categories about the player, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to become a salesman. He's going to have to sell you and a lot of other people that feel the same way that you do about him. And I think it's a great opportunity. I also think I was talking about the flexibility that St. Louis has gained in his top six here.
Yeah.
Say he believes like you do that the best place for Kirby is not necessarily at center coming off this second injury, and that based on everything that happened last year and where to get his confidence going and where to be in the best place. And maybe you don't start it this way, but maybe there's a world where it ends up where Dach is playing with Caulfield and Suzuki and Slavkovsky ends up with Kapanen and Demidov, or like, you don't know. The beauty is that Marty has a flexibility in his top six because of the arrival of Bolduc and because Dach is coming back that he didn't have last year at any point. All of last season, he was searching for a second line. And don't forget, Demidov came with 2 games left.
So you just talked about Demidov, and this is what I think we need to pay a lot of attention to. Oh, and by the way, hold on a second. I got to show you something.
Show me. Confirmed he's wearing pants.
Isn't this nice?
Oh, his first goal. There it is. And he signed it.
Yeah, that's nice. Eh?
Felicita.
Yes, I got this from Francis Benoit of Memorable Authentic in Mascouche. And there's 72 of these. This is number, let me just see. Number 50 of 72. He signed it, and he wrote first NHL goal. Yeah, that's a pretty nice one. You know, the reason why I bring it up, Eric, sorry about that, is that Jeff Gordon at the end of the season, at one point, kind of threw everyone off, and it was caught everyone's attention when he said, well, you know, going out and acquiring a centerman is one thing, but one of the things that, you know, some lines have is a player who's not a centerman, but is actually the player who drives the line. And we knew exactly what he was talking about. He was talking about the Mitch Marners and the Artemi Panarins and the Nikita Kucherovs and the Kirill Kaprizovs of this world, right?
Yeah. And you name the exact 4 anybody would think of.
Yeah. And once upon a time back in the day, I would have said Patrick Kane too, right? He was pretty good. And this is something I think that we need to pay more attention to, because can Demidov drive the line as early as this season? And if they don't go out and get a second line centerman, clearly that's going to be the hope and the expectation. So if Demidov is going to be the guy that ends up driving the line, what would Dach bring to the line? See what I'm getting at? So the center is the guy who usually drives the line, but there are cases where we've seen where the winger drives the line, that is the play driver. If Demidov drives the line, and let's say Bolduc is on it, Bolduc could probably be the F1, or Bolduc could probably be the guy who's going to be the shooter. Demidov could probably be the guy who's the playmaker. But what's Dach going to be on the line?
It's funny you say that, because you talked about not really necessarily believing in him being a center still. So if your belief is that he's a better winger, well, if Demidov is driving the line, it means he's driving the ice up the middle of the ice, often with the puck. He's moving laterally as he gets it along the sides and moves into the middle position, and Dach fills the wing, and then Tony's happy because he's in a better position to put the puck in the net.
Yeah,
I think Dach is a very smart player. He's very capable of being a complementary player if he's not the driving one on his line. I do believe he can still be a driving force. I think those two players, the way they think the game, they can complement each other very well.
You think Dach's a very smart player, right?
Yeah, I do. I do think Dach is a very smart player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But listen, Dach is going to have – there's plenty of people that will shake their heads at that statement just like you might.
I'm not sold, but
Dach is going to have to prove that.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to forget what Dach looked like at his best, because it's been a long time since we saw him.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to remember what he looked like at his best, because when he looked his best, a lot of people were saying he's the best center on this team, not the guy who's the captain.
He could be a very effective player. I really like when he plays mad. Like when he plays mad, sometimes in the wires touch, he's dropped the gloves on a couple of occasions. He looks like a man on a mission.
We've had one update on Kirby Dach all summer. It was prior to the draft when I asked Jeff Gordon, what's the latest on him? And the first thing he said is he's in really good shape. That will be one of the most determinant factors in his ability to redeem himself in what is a contract year and put his name back on the map and have people thinking about it in a different way. Right now, they are stuck with the recency bias, and that recency bias does not do him any favors. Unless he uses it as motivation to prove to everybody I could still be the player that I showed I was at one point in this league. Because, man, he was right on the cusp of turning it on and the injury hit.
That being in really good shape, I'm sure that's the message that they left him with, Kirby.
Well,
your fitness and your game shape better be a lot better next season than it was this past season.
I can't remember what month
it's what hurt him.
I can't remember what month it was. I used to sit down one-on-one with Kirby where he said if I had a chance to do it over, I would have treated the summer much differently to give myself a better opportunity. I knew I was going to have a hard time coming back from this injury, but I didn't do what I needed to give myself the best opportunity to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
He would have never wished for a second injury. You think about how mentally difficult it is to deal with what he's dealt with. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But it did provide another opportunity for him to treat his offseason in a different way that gives him a better opportunity to take off quicker and become the player that he wants to be. Like I said, if he does it, and we're off course, and we should probably stop on Dach after this point, but if he does it, he could be the biggest difference maker for the Canadiens continuing to put one foot in front of the other in their rebuild.
Is Joe Veleno going to be the insurance plan for Kirby Dach? We'll discuss it. But in the meantime, all insurance isn't created equal. You know where to find the right solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product right on the money, whatever your insurance needs. Home, automobile, or business. Jot down this number, 514-363-3636, or visit their website, www.accentassurance.com. Eric's smiling. You like the way I set that one up, Ava. This is it takes a special talent to do stuff like this, Eric. Are the Montreal Canadiens going to make the playoffs for a second year in a row? Go all the way with Betway. Get a free bet up to $200. Your first bet loses. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available, Eric, for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. Joe Veleno.
Before we get to Joe, we're on Demidov, right?
Okay, let's go with Demidov.
I think we should end with Joe. We're on Demidov, and I had a question for you. We spoke earlier today. I said, Tony, like in a best case scenario, 82 games this kid plays. Consider where he'll be on the power play. Consider who he's going to play with in that top six. Maybe he's on a line to start, but he gets moved around. Best case scenario over 82 games. I think we should talk about what we see the power play is looking like, and then give a projection for what we think this player is going to do this year. What do you think of that?
You're asking me the third week of July, and I'm telling you, I'm going to give a high number. I'm the president of the Demidov fan club. Okay.
As long as everyone understands, it's best case scenario. Okay. He's healthy for 82 games.
Yeah.
He's playing on the first power play unit. I think we both agree.
20 plus 40 equals 60.
That's your best case?
No, I think something that's attainable.
Okay. But I'm talking best case. Best case, he's healthy, plays 82 games. What does he end up with?
22 plus 53, 75.
Okay. Now, I think there's going to be some people that look at that and think, okay, like that's overshooting it. Okay. Macklin Celebrini at 18 years old came into the league, and he played 70 games and scored 63 points. So I don't think you're overshooting it with that projection.
Yeah, I think it's even something that's, even though I said it's best case, I think it's very doable. I think you could do it. We're talking about one of the best talents of the entire KHL. We're talking about their best young player. We're talking about the best player not playing in the NHL up until he played his first game last season versus Chicago. This player just needs to get bigger and stronger. All the tools are there. I think this player can do this. I really do.
I got to tell you, man, I am a big believer that this player will immediately step into the league and be of impact. And I think if he's able to put up the type of season that Celebrini put up last year, which I definitely think he's capable of doing, that's also going to be a massive factor for the Canadiens this year. And, there's got to be health around him. He's got to be healty.
They have to have a good power play. They have to have a good power play. It can't be 15, 16, 17.
Right? That's a big factor.
No reason why the Canadiens shouldn't have a top 10 power play in the league. Am I stretching it here or what?
No, I agree with you. But I also think So I have Demidov playing on the first unit. Okay.
Okay.
And I think
let's bring it up. Let's bring up your first power play. Let's bring up your first power play. All right, and you tell me where you see them.
Yeah,
you have.
I have Suzuki on the left wall. I have Slavkovsky down low. I have Caulfield in the bumper. I know people would prefer to have him on the left wall, but I like Suzuki's playmaking out of the left wall. I have Demidov on the right wall and Hudson up top. And I know people don't see Patrick Laine, but we didn't see him in the playoffs either. And this unit, these 5 guys together, are absolutely lethal. And I don't see. I know what Laine did last year, okay? I know he had 15 power play goals. But if this unit in any game takes their foot off the gas a little bit, boy, they got a second unit now that can actually compete with them a little bit.
So you don't see Cole Caulfield back in his office, which is the left side at the circle?
I think if Cole can develop himself as a really good bumper, he will score a lot more goals. I honestly believe he doesn't have. Cole is an elite shooter. Okay, he does not have the same one-timer that Laine has. It's a different type of weapon. It's a different type of shot, different location. I understand that in the college ranks he was lethal from that spot. I understand. Like, I just think Cole's hands and the way he thinks the game and his ability to jump in on a rebound and bury in close. If Suzuki's on the left wall making plays out of there and Demidov is on the right wall making plays out of there, and the attention both those guys are going to attract, not to mention Hudson up top, who's just so dangerous, who will switch spots with Demidov, who will switch spots with Suzuki. Caulfield becomes a very dangerous component from the middle of the ice on this power play. And I just think he'll have a lefty feeding him now all of a sudden from that right wall.
Yeah.
And you're going to see him start scoring a lot of goals from that spot. I really believe that. So this unit for me, I understand it doesn't have Patrick Laine on it.
Yeah.
But if these guys can't get it done and get it done quickly, or if they come out lackadaisical in a game, that second unit is going to threaten them. There's going to be some good competition here with the players that are assembled all around. Because I have Demidov there, my belief is, look, Celebrini had 63 points in 70 games last year. I see no reason why Demidov can't have 70 points in 82 games this year if he plays.
I agree with your first unit. I think there's going to be different variations. One of them is going to be Caulfield's right-handed shot from the left circle. Let's take a look at your second power play unit and tell me where you see them. Gallagher, Newhook, Bolduc, Patrick Laine, and Noah Dobson. Is that correct?
Yes. So okay. I just want one caveat that Alex Newhook and Kirby Dach, you could see, one of the main reason I had Newhook on this unit is his puck transportation ability. He's the guy who kind of breaks his zone.
They drop it back to him the way they usually drop it back to Suzuki on the first unit. And he's their main strategy for their entry plan.
But if Dach's in shape, Dach can be that player too. And he could even be a better option than Newhook in that role in terms of his ability to make the second play once you cross the line. Bolduc, clearly a lot of goals in the bumper in St. Louis on the power play, said it himself. That's why I have him. Newhook would be up high next to Dobson, who would be in the middle. And Newhook would be off, like in between the circle and the blue line, kind of up high. Gallagher down low, obviously. That's his kitchen. That's where he plays. And we know where Laine is. We don't have to tell you. So
I think I'd rather see Kirby Dach on the power play and Alex Newhook on the penalty kill.
Well, I agree with you. And that's why I say there's a slash here, okay?
With Newhook's speed, think of how effective a penalty killer Paul Byron was for the Montreal Canadiens, So
provided Dach is healthy, in great shape, and he's moving on time, I think Dach will be in that spot. And one of the things about this unit that is really interesting to me is I know, and I've spoken to Patrick Laine about this, and I did a whole thing about it. He prefers, even if he scored 15 goals with Lane Hudson feeding him the puck for a lot of them, he prefers a right-handed shooter to pass him the puck for that one time.
Dobson.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, provided Patrick Laine starts the season with the Montreal Canadiens, which, they still have a cap space issue, and we'll see what happens with him. This is how I would arrange this. And I had to tell you, man, like
Bolduc's in the bumper on this unit, right?
Yes, he's in the bumper.
Yeah.
Where he scored a bunch of these, I think it was 6 or 7 goals that he scored.
Yeah.
That power play.
He's got a great one-timer. A lot of players that play with him say that, the second he got the puck, they didn't see it leave his stick. It was already in. He's got a great release.
I'm just like, if Dach is the Dach that he's supposed to be, you have two units here that are really going to push each other.
Yeah.
Like, I understand everyone will look at the first one and be like, they got to play a minute 20. They got to play a minute 30. They got to play 2 minutes. I'm telling you, they come out for the first power play and they get their minute 20 and like nothing's happening and they're like lollygagging it a little bit. The other guys are coming on first for the next one. Like, that's how you got to have a competition that develops here. You're right when you said there's no reason they shouldn't have one of the top 10 power plays in the league this year. If they're healthy, it has the potential to be top 5. I mean, there's great competition and great composition, which, let's face it, they didn't have a second unit last year. Not to mention that Mike Matheson's a pretty good reserve to have if they have some health issues.
Yeah.
So is Newhook if Dach isn't up to it right away. Like, they have options. Like, already went from having one unit to having options on 2 now. So
he's an option, but we know how many minutes Matheson gets in the regular season and in the playoffs. Yeah, he had more ice time. He had more ice time of any player in the regular season and in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he was tied with Lane Hudson. I think they played 24-50 time on ice per game. He's an elite penalty killer, and I think the Canadiens feel that if they take some ice away from him, he can be even more effective. So I don't think he's going to be on the first unit or the second unit. At one point, we're going to see him. We might at one point see Dobson and Lane Hudson together. If the power play is not working well, they're going to be inclined to. They're going to want to change it up, and that's when you might see them. I mean, but yeah, I agree with you.
Tony, from like having no second unit to having options on 2 of them, it's a big difference. But you like those 5 guys, Slavkovsky, Demidov, Caulfield, Suzuki, Hudson, what they look like in the playoffs. I mean, even Spencer Carberry said we got into a lot of trouble, and maybe to your point. Yeah, it was with Suzuki in the bumper. As soon as Suzuki ended up in the bumper, it was like one option that is really hard to eliminate all the options. I believe Caulfield can play that position. Nick Suzuki is the best playmaker on the Canadiens, and he is the quarterback of that unit, no matter how good the players are that are on that unit. I know Hudson's there. I know Demidov's there. But Suzuki's the guy that the power play will run through. And the best place to run through a power play is an offhand player playing on the half wall. And that just happens to be the quadrant of the ice where I think Suzuki does his best work. So, but they're gonna rotate and move. You'll see Hudson move down, like you did in the playoffs. You'll see Demidov move to the middle. You'll see Suzuki come up top. You're gonna see a bunch of different. These guys are just getting started. They're just starting to cook. And the thing that makes them the most successful power plays are players that really understand each other and understand like that chemistry. Marty likes to say it's 5 guys sharing one brain, and it doesn't. The only way it happens is it develops over years. And now you've had Slavkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield playing together for years, and Hudson has been incorporated into that. And Demidov is much newer to it, but man, I don't think it's going to be hard for him to figure it out and for them to figure out what he's up to. So that's going to be lethal.
All right. Talk to me about Joe Veleno, because I think for the most part, a lot of people say, well, Joe Veleno, you know what? Canadiens are looking for a second-line centerman. Doesn't look like he's going to be that guy to start. Who knows? He might get an opportunity. He even said so on the podcast we were together. He said, you know what? I want to come in. I want to work hard. I want to set the example. I want to be responsible defensively. I want to win faceoffs. I want to be able to play disciplined hockey, do my thing. And with that comes the coach's trust. And with the coach's trust comes more ice time and more opportunities. And at that point, it's up to him to actually be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So it could be. But Pierre Maguire brought up a real energy line, okay, for Joe Veleno. I'm not going to tell you who just now, but in your opinion, if Suzuki is the first line center, and if whoever centers Demidov is going to be a second line, and do you see Veleno on a third or a fourth to start the season?
See, I don't want to be like the coach of any NHL team that says, well, why are you numbering my lines? But in the case of the Canadiens and the way they're structured, I see a third and fourth line that are going to be deployed relatively the same amount of ice time at 5-on-5, but one is going to play more in the offensive zone, as one is going to start much more in the defensive zone. I think you're going to have a serious competition. Before Veleno came in, I really felt that there was a great opportunity to put Newhook between Gallagher and Anderson. I know everybody put Evans there, but I actually believe that if you put Newhook there, you'd have a line that was just as effective as the one with Dvorak. Maybe they get scored on a little more, but they produce more offense.
I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying that you think that Jake Evans is going to take most of the defensive zone draws and Joe Veleno is going to take most of the offensive zone draws.
Yeah, that's if Joe Veleno makes the team. This is the greatest opportunity of Joe Veleno's career in front of him. If
Joe Veleno makes the team, you don't think?
Because there's more bodies now, and he's in a competition with Alex Newhook. He's in a competition with Oliver Kapanen.
Yeah.
And Jake Evans. And two of those three guys are going to be starting for the Canadiens up the middle. And if Joe Veleno isn't starting up the middle for them, he isn't starting in the lineup. So this is an amazing opportunity for his career. I've done my research on the player, okay? He is not a fourth line grinder.
No.
This is not the style of player. He is not Jake Evans. He's not
But do you have to – well, hold on a second, though. Do you have to be a grinder to be on a fourth line? Can Joe Veleno, with the characteristics that he has, and he doesn't have that bite and he doesn't have that grind that you talked about, but if Joe Veleno becomes a guy who wins 50+% of his draws, plays a responsible 200-foot game, is sound, does all the little things, cycles the puck, maintains the puck in the opposition zone more often than not, even though he's not exactly has the characteristics of all of them that you want on a fourth line, does he not have his place?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I believe that Joe Veleno is less suited to play that role and more suited to play an offensive role.
I asked Pierre Maguire last week, I'll give you the opportunity to continue. If I take a look at the Florida Panthers' fourth line, with Noshik centering it last year, that line that won the cup, can Joe Veleno be the Noshik for the Montreal Canadiens? He said absolutely 100% he thinks he can. But at the same time, he said the opportunity he would give Veleno at the beginning would be to play with Josh Anderson and Zach Bolduc. Anderson played great on a line with Gallagher last year and with Christian Dvorak. I thought it's interesting, though. Pierre thought that could be an energy line.
I think you're going to have three offensive lines that are still responsible lines and one real, true energy line that you can also trust in the defensive zone. I think Veleno coming in makes it much more likely now that Evans plays with Gallagher and Anderson.
Yeah.
And I think you could have a third offensive line that gets mostly offensive zone starts with Patrick Laine, either one of Joe Veleno or Oliver Kapanen.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe,
in your opinion, it's a battle between Veleno and Kapanen.
Yes. And I believe that Veleno has skills. He has good hands. He has good touch. He has skill. That's what his making was before he came to the NHL. There hasn't been a place for him in Detroit, maybe in Chicago, to play a higher up the lineup type of role, and he's not perfectly suited to play the lowest end of the lineup, which is why he kind of hasn't found his way to have the best. And maybe I'll speak to Joe and he'll say, nah, I don't think you're right. And that's fine. Maybe, not maybe. Nobody knows more about him and why he hasn't had as much success as some would have thought he would have when he was drafted than he does. Okay?
Well, I've mentioned this before, and Joe Veleno admitted as much when he joined me last week on the Sick Podcast. The Canadiens, there was interest in Joe Veleno a little bit. There were talks. There was some mutual interest. And then at one point, the Canadiens, they viewed some tape and they stepped away and they separated for a little bit. And then they came back at one point. And Joe Veleno admitted that the Canadiens reconnected. And then the discussions took place again, which ultimately led to a contract signing. Pierre Maguire said that the reason why, it wasn't done right away and the Canadiens stepped away and then the Canadiens decided to look at tape was because the analytics are not in favor of Joe Veleno. And that's why they had to dive into it further and check it out. So, hey, look, it's going to be, this is what the Canadiens want, though, right? They want to fight. They want internal competition. It's going to play itself out of camp. I think Veleno knows that, I don't know. It's probably his last kick at the can here. This is it.
Yes, but at his age, it's a great kick at the can.
Yeah.
This is a chance to carve out an opportunity, like I said, to potentially play much more of an offensive role than he's been put in the last year or two, with some players that have some ability to put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
And look, a lot of people make their paper lineups. They'll cast Sammy Blais aside. I wouldn't. Okay. Quebec guy coming home has the ability to put the puck in the net. I understand, there was a point in the AHL playoffs that he was actually a healthy scratch at one point.
Yeah.
I've had some people reach out and say to me, I don't think his conditioning has been as good as it should be for Samuel Blais that we've seen at his peak in the NHL and when he was at his best. I think coming home and knowing what that's about and the ability to play for the Montreal Canadiens is going to motivate that player. If not, he's the perfect 13th forward for the Canadiens.
Just going to say that. Today's July 21st. July 21st, I tell you that Samuel Blais will be their 13th forward.
Yeah.
It was Michael Pezzetta a year ago. It'll be Blais this year. I think having Veleno awards Oliver Kapanen with some more time in the American Hockey League to be able to round out his game, get more minutes, get more confidence, be more ready. But once again, it's the third week of July. Our opinion can change in the third week of September.
Veleno's got to prove it. Kapanen's got to prove it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a real competition coming into camp, and whoever plays better, in my opinion, is going to end up in that spot.
Eric Engels, you proved your loyalty to me. You took 45 minutes away from the beautiful Emily up at the cottage to be with me on the Sick Podcast. Thank you, man. You can go back to Emily now and thank her for me. Appreciate it, bud.
Take care.
All right, there you have it. Eric Engels of Sportsnet, sportsnet.ca. Special thanks to our sponsors. Betway is one. Accent Insurance Solutions is the other. Bittt Tibi, Playground, and Energy Transportation Group. Leave us a 5-star review. It's our way of feeling the love. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. For Shane Gaumont and Master Control, it's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.